Hey guys, welcome back to Golden Hour Adventure. I'm Gus, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to chop down your bars if you feel like they're a little bit too wide. So, I picked up this new Marin Hawkhill, and it feels great. I love pretty much everything about it, but the bars are just a little too wide for me. I've had some issues squeezing through tighter parts of trails, and today I'm going to be cutting them down so they're a little more comfortable to ride and a little more nimble in the trails. So a couple things you're definitely going to want are a hacksaw or some other comparable saw so that you can do the physical chopping, some hex wrenches if you need to take your grips off if they have set screws on them, a file or a deburring tool to get rid of the sharp edges once you cut it down, and maybe some kind of measuring tool if you're not sure how far you want your bars to be cut to. So you're going to need to figure out which size is the correct size to take off your lock screws. I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot. This is a 2 mil. And that appears to work. So these things shouldn't be super tight. If they are, don't put them on back on as tight as they come off. They just need to hold the grip in place so it doesn't twist around when you're riding. So I can see now that my grip is loose because it's coming back and forth. So I'm just going to come out over to the end of the bar and pull this cap out. And once that's out, you can take your grip and slide it right off. So each of these markings looks to be a 1/2 centimeter, so if you cut one marking on each side, you'll take off 1 centimeter off your bars. These bars stock are 780 millimeter, and you can tell from the end here that they have not been cut yet, so they're definitely 780 millimeters right now. I think I'll start by cutting in 1 centimeter on each side. That's 2 markings. So that'll be a 2 centimeter decrease, which will bring us down to 760 millimeters. So now what I'm going to do is move the brake lever and the shifters in, so that way I don't nick it with the saw as I go through. And also they're going to be moved in anyway once the new grip is on, so they're still in a good position relative to your hand. And I'm just going to loosen them up a bit and then move them in. Now once these are loose, I'll just slide them in. And that should be plenty to get the bars cut and then reposition them later. So like I said, I think I'm going to go in 2 marks on each side to start. That'll bring the bars down to 760 millimeters. So I'm going to take my hacksaw and try to stay as square as possible to the bars, so that way they're cut nice and evenly and a consistent width all the way through. So I'm going very slow at first, trying to make a groove that I can stay in so the saw doesn't walk all over. So now I'm just tapping out the bars because, as you can imagine, there's plenty of metal in there. Doesn't really matter, but it just feels good to get it out there. And the next step will just be filing this down so it's nice and even. As you can see, inherently it's just a little bit thicker on some parts and cut a little further on others. So I'll just grab the file and file it all flat. So this isn't perfectly flat, but it's a lot better than it was right after I cut it. It's a little smoother. So I'll go on to deburring it and get ready to reassemble everything. Alright, now that the bars are cut and I filed the edges and then I deburred the inside with the deburring tool and then the outside with the file, I'm going to put the grips back on. So I'll position it around there. Then I'll grab my hex wrench and I'll just snug it up just a little bit to hold it in place. And I'll rotate it to where I want it to be positioned. And keep the end as flush as you can with the bar. So now it's snug, but you can still twist it. So I'm going to twist it to the final spot that I want it in. And then I'll snug this down. Now just take your end cap here and push it in. And that's all there is to it. So the next step is to position your brake lever and your shifters. So a good rule of thumb is to use about 1 centimeter, 1.5 centimeters here. But if you want to just confirm that that's what's right for your brake levers, put your hand on and see where, if you use one finger, line up the end of the lever with your pointer finger when your hand is centered on the grip. Or if you use 2 like I like to, try to center your middle finger with the outside of the brake lever. So for me this ends up being closer to 2 centimeters. And once you squeeze that and confirm that's about where you want it, we'll tighten the screw down back here. Once you snug the screw up a little, confirm that the angle of the brake lever is where you want it to be. I like to run mine just a little bit down from horizontal, so it's a good compromise between comfort when you're seated and when you're up out of your saddle. Now for the shifters, I'm just going to like to run them as close to the brake lever as I can, so that way they're nice and easily accessible, especially since my brake lever is a little bit further off the grips than I would have expected. So I've pushed it all the way up there, and I can confirm that that's going to be nice and comfortable there. And again, I'll snug that down, and I'll go right ahead and torque this now. Now I'll go ahead and tighten the brake lever down. And we should be good to go here. So guys, that's it for this video. If this was helpful to you, leave a like. If you're looking for more content like this, please subscribe. And if you're looking for a review on the Marin Hawkhill, please stick around and we'll have one of those coming soon. So now let's give it a test ride and see how it feels.